All right. Well, let's. We have our old friend Siike is here. Are you here, Zeke? Yeah. Okay. Can you make it up? Are you feeling the strength? Hey, buddy. Zeke is sporting the latest in feral audio fashion from feralaudio.com, a place where you can go and make donations to support Feral Audio's network, which provides you with all kinds of shit. I am told statistically that if everyone in our audience, not this audience, but our podcast audience, went there and donated $5, that we'd be able to make a podcast for 4 years. I don't know where he got that statistic.
Made it up.
This one doesn't cost me anything. I don't know. He must be talking. Maybe Chelsea Peretti. Maybe she. There's overhead there. Maybe she needs like money. I don't know. I think it has to do with Dustin. Not starving to death while he records and edits everyone's podcast. And the people that do the website and stuff. So, anyways, nice T-shirt. How you doing, Zeke?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
How's everyone here?
I don't know. You sound all right.
Yeah.
So what you specifically requested to come up tonight? You wanted to pay us a visit.
Yeah, actually, well, I've been feeling good lately, so I wanted to come up when I had more energy than I did last time I came up. But I kind of wanted to ask a question of the audience.
All right. Who the fuck do you think you are? And then he just throws down the mic and flies through the roof. Holy shit, he was a superhero the whole time. We were warned over and over again. Like, you fucking people treat me like shit. I could bend Jupiter with my mind. Goodbye. And then you just hear him as his voice trails off into the stratosphere. He goes, Code 7, proceed with the demolition. And then the last thing we remember is the ground turning orange. All right, sorry. What were you...
You had me.
What was the question?
What if you actually just stole his actual thunder there? That was.
Yeah, I was gonna do all of that.
Yeah, he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait 1 more week now for it to have impact.
I'll come back.
Code 7's off.
In my own special way, I'm a savior of humanity.
Stand down. No, I've as some of you have been seeing on Twitter, I spent the last 6 weeks, although I will admit I cheated and started before I was on the last episode, but I've been drawing people from Harmontown as Megaman characters.
Yeah, I saw some.
Which is my favorite video game. Take that, Grand Theft Auto. And and it's one of the few really vivid childhood memories I have. Not the visuals of it, but just I remember always being obsessed about it. I think to the point where one day my mom raised me and my brother by herself, and she went on a date one night, and then she came home at 2 a.m, and my brother was asleep, and I turned my entire room into a level from Megaman. And she was mad. And my brother was asleep, and I'm jumping on the beds, shooting at things at the wall that aren't moving.
Would turning your room into any level from any video game entail some tidiness? I missed Mega Man. I'm a little older than you.
It's like Mario. It's side scrolling, I guess. So yeah, there's just blocks floating in my room.
You made your room 2-dimensional?
Yes, yeah. Flattened it.
That's against a lot of building codes.
Yeah. So we didn't get the deposit back on the apartment. But so I've been drawing people and I didn't want to just draw you guys. I drew because this show is you guys have all kind of, whether you know it or not, have kind of become an extended family of mine. And so I wanted to draw some of you too. So I drew NT and Adam Goldberg, and then I drew some of your guests. I drew Dustin, obviously. And I spent a lot of times, had 2 nosebleeds and 1 blackout, no seizures. But I spent about 7 weeks drawing all of these. So I guess I was just curious if people were interested. I was thinking about making prints, and I ran the idea by Dan, maybe make a very limited number of the prints, and we could sell them here before a show one night.
I don't know, maybe 2 nosebleeds?
Yeah,
I don't know.
2. That's why if you look on Twitter, I tweeted the original pictures, and then later you see them on completely different paper, and it's because I had to use a light box to redraw it because I bled on the previous paper.
I mean, that's not because of the art, right?
It's because it's the amount of it takes to create something visual for me. It takes a lot out of me.
Well, Jesus, God. Thank you. But also...
I'm not saying I would normally bleed for Harmontown. It just happened. I wasn't expecting it. It just happened.
So what do I have to pull the trigger on? You wanted to come and talk about this stuff and announce it. I mean, I'm never sure because I got my head up my own ass. What do I see tweets from you and emails and stuff. And the answer is yes, whatever you want to do. Do you want to sell these things on the Harmontown store?
Yeah, well, I figured that we would maybe do a batch for the group here, and then and then like maybe just make like I don't know what a good number is, maybe 30 or 50 or 100, and then anything we have left over after we sell to anyone here, we can put on the Harmontown store if you want.
Yeah. Can we give the money to the Aneurysm Foundation, or
we can? I mean, I originally.
Or do you need it? If you need it, that's good enough for me.
I do, but I mean, I'd rather my mission, my self-given mission in life is to help them out. So, I would. I mean, originally I wanted to give it to Feral Audio. But you guys were like, screw that. I was like, well, I'll buy a shirt then.
Dustin can drink a couple less Red Bulls next month. We can cut corners in our little smoky room.
But we could do that. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever. Yeah, we could do that.
All right. Well, whatever. Yeah, we'll figure it out. How have you been? What's the? I mean, I think that's the thing that's foremost on my mind. When is the last time you had a report of your condition? It's just like you have this mysterious condition with an indefinite prognosis, and I just what what's going on when you talk to the doctors? What do you know about?
I mean, I go in, I do tests probably every week mostly, but. Some of the tests are physical, so sometimes they'll just have me run on a treadmill and see how long I can last. And then sometimes it's blood work, and sometimes it's CT scans or MRIs.
Is there water behind the treadmill?
No. Yeah, no.
Well, then they're not getting an accurate result.
No, they're not really. They look at the pool of sharks behind me. No, yeah, they're not. Yeah.
I mean, what are they telling you anything? Or are they
no,
just like,
I mean,
thanks?
Right now, they usually tell me things when it gets bad. But right now, I mean, I'm just on a monitored system, so they're like we said last time, because I'm experiencing things differently than most. They just keep a close eye on me. But because anything can turn in my head at the last minute, they just have to constantly keep an eye on me. So there's really no news is always good news for me.
Yeah.
So
but it's also the weirdest news in the world because you're like this coin flipping up in the air perpetually.
Yeah, it's like Two-Face is just living in my head. And
but the weird thing is, it's a metaphor. Like, obviously, that is all of our condition.
Of course,
most,
tomorrow's not promised to anybody.
Yeah,
that's why I deal with it really well, because I'm like, so and so, something could happen to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's not
But it's like. Frustrating to like somebody say something. Somebody in a white lab coat say something definitive, anything. They're probably wrong 9 out of 10 times anyway. But someone, what is this like this weird Schrodinger's? I
mean, it does, but I never open the box. I don't want to know. It's better not to know. I think for me anyway, because I have so much. I'm trying to just live a normal life now, so I put that first. So I want to make sure if I wake up in the morning, that's step one. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm here. So now what do I got to do? I'm like, okay, so now I got a new job. So that's why my head's been hurting a lot lately, is because the stress of it. But I'm adapting now. So things have kind of cooled off. So it's,
Well, I saw that we were talking about on the subreddit, the Harmontown subreddit, you're active in there. And I remember seeing you saying something about how you probably shouldn't be one of the 100 to go to the moon because for all you know, what's happening is hereditary, and
you could have 99, like next week, the week after we move there.
But we could make it 101, and I also saw the if you could be like a minister of fear of death for other people that I could go to when I go. I need glasses. Tell me that that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we toyed around. So I saw being toyed around with the concept of you being the person that chooses the 100. Which I would be fine with. I think you would choose better than me.
Well, I mean, I look at it's how I approach everything, art, writing. Like I look at things of I don't know. I feel like that position should be someone that doesn't have an ultimate stake in it.
Exactly.
So I thought, someone who doesn't get to go to the moon colony should be the one to pick the 100.
Right.
And I don't want to go by choice. I want it to be a better society. And I feel like a better society wouldn't have to wouldn't look at me as a burden. That's why I moved back here to LA, because when I was back home with my mom and recovering, I think that's all she saw when she looked at me, because it was a lot for her to process, that I was mentally gone.
Mm-hmm.
That she was like, oh, my son doesn't remember things anymore, so there's a part of him that's not my son anymore. So I don't ever want to be a burden to anyone. So I think that's why ultimately I was like, I'll help pick the 100. And then I'll stay here, and you guys are going to need stuff constantly. So I figured that'd be good for me to be here at the teleporter, guarding it and making sure supplies are still getting to you. Because I feel like once you go up there with your 100, there's going to be a lot of disgruntled people down here going, "Why didn't you choose me?" And they're going to want to cut you off.
Right.
And I feel
talk
like
to Zeke.
Yeah, and I feel
about
like
your problems.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like few people will come up to me and go, "Yeah, all right, here's some extra, flour or whatever, and send that to the moon."
But I think we could build a Zeke mannequin and have him down there in that window that says "back for lunch," and we could smuggle you up to the moon.
I'll visit. I would like to visit. My favorite comic book is a bunch of characters that live on the moon. They're called the Inhumans. I'm fascinated. The first image I saw when I got out of the hospital was, or when I was conscious of the hospital, was the moon, because I woke up at night and I got to see this beautiful thing in the sky. So I always been drawn to this show because of these little things. I feel like
it's such an amazing mythical thing, the moon. And I was like, yeah,
it is.
You're looking at the only thing that
right.
that we looked at before we were even human.
Yeah.
Like it's built into our, insects. Like the reason I've talked about that before. Like the reason moths go around porch lights is because
right.
they're instinctively they evolved with the moon in the sky, and they use it as a navigator. They keep it on their left side to fly in a straight line, and they get fucked by porch lights and campfires because they think that's a moon, and they
right.
spiral to their death. But for us, for the creators of mythology, there's this silver disc in the sky that changes shape but is always up there, and it is like synonymous in mythology with femininity, the egg that the sperm strive for. There's this giant radiant thing up there. There's this cooling thing that has power over the tide. This monthly lunar cycle. It's like the most beautiful. Fuck the sun. It's garbage.
Yeah. The sun will die one day. The moon is infinite.
The sun is murdering us.
Yeah.
Every morning it comes up, tries to kill us for 12 hours, and goes back to sleep.
When the sun dies, we go first.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not saying the sun ain't got no power, but I'm just saying I refuse to negotiate with terrorists. I know it's got its hand on the trigger, but it's like, fuck you, spit in your face.
We have this, whatever you think about President Obama, I'm neither here nor there. I don't really give a shit. But he's in this pickle about Syria. I don't know why he thinks that we should go do this. I think he was lied to. I think we're being lied to about it. I think it's all a bunch of baloney. I think there's a bigger, weirder task at hand. That's my theory.
The Pope is on that case too.
Is he really?
The Pope said something. I was just browsing Reddit. I just see the headlines. I'm really out of the loop about the Syria thing, but I read a headline that said the Pope raises the question: is Syria happening so that we can sell weapons? Is that what's going on?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he's making a better case for Catholicism than any Pope ever. Because he likes queers and stuff. He's awesome, or kind of. He kind of does.
I mean, as much as a Pope could, I guess.
I think he probably deep down does, but he knows what he can and can't say.
Has there been an apology from the thing that the Catholic Church needs to do is there needs to be an acknowledgement and apology about all of the covering of the shenanigans.
Right. Yeah.
That's a real thing that actually needs to happen. Has that happened? I really don't know.
No, they can't. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they feel terrible about it.
That's
some of them do.
Yeah, it's not the thought that counts in this particular case. They really have to apologize.
What I was going to say, by the time this podcast drops tomorrow, maybe not, that President Obama will be on every Today show and morning news show making a case for some strange ass shit that just seems really like a lot of malarkey. No one knows what the logic behind it is. JFK, he said, let's go to the fucking moon and let's do it in 10 years. And I'll be dead when it happens. I'll be dead a couple years by the time that goes down. He did. He actually did know that. And that's why he said it, because he was awesome. But they built the biggest machine humans are likely to ever make, and they went to the moon, and that's badass. They lived in a magical, crazy time. And our president goes, we have to go do I drew a red line. We're going to do a tactical strike, a limited boots on the grounds. And it's like, boo, fucking, let's go to Mars. Let's do some cool human shit.
Yeah. The only thing that I know about it is, or think about it, is like what I read a long time ago, and in my little Chomsky book, which is just about it's like it just feels like we America was this kind of brutal capitalistic genius before we went into World War II, and we had this 50-year plan that we are now exiting. We have now exited, and we are trying to figure out a new 50-year plan. Like America was, whether you love it or hate it, like we were good. Like if you're gonna be proud of something, be proud of how we fucking. We made this decision that we were the Han Solo of the planet. That I got no love for the Empire, but anywhere to make a buck. Kind of like we hung back and we didn't believe in the Force, and we kept our blaster at our side, and we had the Atlantic Ocean between us and any trouble, and we just we just wanted to know what's in it for us. And then we had this 50-year thing that started with our involvement in World War II that turned out fine and dandy for us. And now we're living past the finish line of all that. And I think, people were allowed to be more brutal back then. They were allowed to be more secretive. They were allowed to, there was a quarter of the population back then, at least half, like less people, plain and simple, half as many problems, and half as many ways to fuck up. But it's like now we're Generation X is 40, and the millennials are going, what are we doing? And they have like all of this communication with each other, and it's just you can't just have a buzz cut and sit at your barbecue in the front yard and go, let's get them Rooskies. Like it doesn't. That worked so well, and we don't know how to get that back, and we're trying really hard to get that business model operating by it's like, okay, it's like the Nielsen system going
now you're watching this this Obama versus Putin shit. Like, and I'm not political. I don't care about politics. I'm not like Greg Proops or someone that reads the papers all the time. But it seems like we're just trying to really disingenuously trying to create a Cold War again, where that we hate the Russians again. Like nobody fucking cares about us anymore, and nobody cares about Russia. It's so. I feel so bad for everybody, and I feel like if CNN, I feel like if Wolf Blitzer, because they get so fucking excited about war whenever there's a prospect of any kind of conflict. I feel like if Wolf Blitzer personally owned a boat and some missiles, Damascus would be done already. Like he would have fucking gone over there himself and done it.
He'd be plugging one ear with his beautiful hair whipping in the wind. I'm off the coast of Damascus right now, and boy, it's lit up like 4th of July.
Also, Wolf Blitzer, He's not smart. He's not. He seems kind of half retarded. The guy, I'm talking loud, and like who fucking vetted this cock? He's
who vetted him?
Why? First of all, Wolf Blitzer, no, stupid name. Wait, isn't there a name? There's a chick on CSNBC named Crystal Ball. Her name is Crystal Ball, and she's a fucking journalist, which is awesome. Because let's just call it a spade. We gave up a long time ago. But Wolf Blitzer needs to fucking stop talking because he's a fucking douchey cockadoodle douchebag.
Well, I don't even. Yeah, it's gotten so bare bones that I don't even think it's treasonous anymore to say that the curtain has dropped on the concept of state-run television. Yeah, you're just looking at people going.
It's almost like if there was a war, that networks would make more money because we'd be watching more television watching it, and it seems like a lot of the networks are owned by companies that make weapons. You can't get that cynical about it, but you don't have to be that cynical.
How are you doing, by the way, Zeke?
Zeke, what's your Syria plan?
Well, we're going to the moon, so we don't have to worry about Syria.
We're not going to go to the moon before the serious shit goes.
No, probably
somebody
not.
Somebody yelled at me on Reddit for having this kind of like we're abandoning the world, or we need it down here, and all that stuff.
I mean, I don't know, because the way I look at it is, I think what the world lacks the most of is pioneers, and that's why I put that dedication at the beginning of Soulstar. Right when you open up, it says dedicated to all pioneers, and that's actually from an anime that I really love called Macross Plus, which is about man that has passed Earth. They're out there. We're out in the universe. We're doing other things. We're creating machines and life on other planets. And I just see, like, right now we have pioneers in technology. Like, they're making the newest phone and they're making the newest thing we can consume, but they're not taking us places. They're not expanding us. They're not evolving us, really. And
that was that's on my list. Did you hear me earlier? I said, what has the species done? I'm not asking this in a cynical way. I wanted to ask it in a, like, because I'm very proud of our species. I think, obviously, we have to be. What are we going to root for giraffes?
I will say, as someone who's been close to the because I loved hearing was it Beth last week, your neighbor?
Beth Bootson, yeah.
Was it the week before? But I loved hearing her talk, because I think that's what I was tweeting you too. She was so close to saying what I've been saying for years, but every time I say it, it freaks people out about what it's like when you feel like you're gone from this plane. I'm very proud of humanity too, because I've seen what it's like to not be a part of it anymore. So, when you have a bad day, just trust me, it's not as bad as you think it is. I promise you, because there is unbelievable things we can all do. I'm really proud of the human race. I get disillusioned sometimes when I see the crappy things we do, but I'm lifted 10 times higher when I see something amazing and positive we do.
The potential energy is it's gotten to the point where it's almost ludicrous that we haven't kind of burst. But unfortunately, our species history would seem to indicate that it's going to get, it has to get worse before this like incredible like ray of light like shoots out by necessity.
Sure.
Like, we're a species that is constantly, we the first 90% of our history we're in God's crosshairs, just surviving ice ages, and bears were not something that you tucked your kids into bed with at night, and dogs were not something that fetched your slippers. These were equally intelligent animals as far as we were concerned. They had everything we had. We didn't have an alphabet yet, and we were competing for lunch with them, and half the time being lunch. And the triumphs that we have achieved in the face of that, like, we should be patting ourselves on the back. Now we're in this most recent chapter where our species is going through this acne-ridden pubescent phase, where there's a violence, this hormonal, oily explosions all over us. We've covered the earth. We're choking it. We're affecting it, and we have gotten to the point where we're absolutely capable of turning everything around, and the only thing standing in the way at this point is just this reluctance to do it.
Right.
Because how is it going to start? What would anyone do? Who's going to be the Rosa Parks of an entire planet? Who's going to stand under a Bodhi tree this time and just go, I'm not moving until shit gets real, and invite all of the. And obviously that's a horrible example. That's not what it's going to take. Those are called hacky sackers. They're not changing anything. What can we do? The answer is we have to take on this like crazy, non-marketable like Spock mentality, where we start going like, okay, we're going to do this thing, and it's like, fuck it, I don't know, whatever. We're very close, but it's
the thing is, you have to. It's probably, I imagine for you, like when you're writing, there's a technique you have to do where when you get to a certain point in whatever story you're telling, where you have to literally break your brain to think in the shoes of that character or that person or whatever. I think there's a point where we just have to teach each other that technique, how to break your brain and think differently, even if it's just momentarily, because I think you expand that way, you grow that way. I mean, that's all of us go through that when we go through puberty, like you said, like at this stage we're in, like we're 13 to 17 and even past that. I mean, I'm technically 3 years old. I learned words 3 years ago. I learned writing 3 years ago and walking 3 years ago. So it's like, I'm constantly learning new things. Like there's sometimes people see something I tweet and they're like, "Oh, that was kind of passive aggressive." I'm like, "I just learned what that was." I'm like,
I thought it was aggressive.
Yeah, I'm like that's right.
And easy.
Yeah. So it's I'm constantly reconfiguring my brain because I have to, and I feel like that's what we should pass on to other people is to get them to do that, because it's not a permanent thing. You don't have to crack it like an egg and it's done. You could put it back together. It's almost like a transformer in a
we all
80s
have to,
reference way.
We have to become triple changers.
Exactly.
Before this planet becomes the first Transformer movie and kills off Optimus Prime and tries to replace it with Rodimus Prime.
What?
Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Siike, for coming by.
Guys.
Always happy to hear from you. Thank you, sir. All right.